I'd like to welcome everyone to Town of Stellarton Council meeting, September 13th, 2021, 5:30 p.m. start time. The first item is the approval of the agenda. Is there any change or additions to the agenda?
Yes, Your Worship. And I'd like to add the ad hoc committee for mental health crisis. I'll report on that, bring everybody up to speed.
Thank you, Councillor Nice. We'll make number 10, mental health. What's the term we use for that committee? Ad hoc committee, sorry. Open forum will be 11, next council meeting 12, and adjourn 13. If there's nothing else to add, can I have a motion, please?
I so move.
I'll second it.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Lawan, seconded by Councillor Campbell. All those in favor, by saying aye. Contrary minded, most carried unanimously. Thank you. Item 2 is the approval of minutes. There should be electronically. They're also part of the package. There's 2 of them. There's a public hearing, the regular meeting from July 12th. Is there any errors or omissions?
I move to approve.
I'll second that, Your Worship.
Moved by Councillor Nice, seconded by Councillor Pence. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded, most carried unanimously. Thank you. Business arising from the minutes. Memorial to Rachel McLean.
Yes, just to inform council that I have been speaking with Rachel's husband, and he is going to be talking with her family and her close friends on some ideas, and he will be getting back to me as soon as possible.
Excellent. Thank you for the update. We really want the family's input on that, so we're glad to have it. So move on to item 4, presentation, Northumberland Shore Emergency Scene Rehabilitation Society. Bill Muirhead.
Good afternoon, Your Worship and Town Councilors. Thank you for taking a few minutes to listen to our presentation here of the Northumberland Emergency Rehab Group. We're a group that had been started because of aging fire community and such. And we have a group of firemen, nurses, paramedics that are going to run this group. So, firefighting, as we all know, is 24 hours, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. With the exception of New Glasgow, all other fire departments are run by volunteers. Firefighters can be exposed to routine conditions like interior attacks starting at 70 degrees and up to 200 degrees Celsius, which put a ton of stress on the firefighter's core, and turnout gear can be up to 160 to 180 degrees inside the turnout gear. Yet on top of that, more humid days, hotter days, climate change, firefighting is a dangerous job. The average person who needs a fire service calls the fire department, they show up, they put the fire out, and they go home, but they don't see what's in the background of firefighting. So with our conditions here, we can run from humidity up to 40 degrees to minus 30 in the wintertime, summer, fall. You add all the evidence up, and it puts on, and with firefighters will overexert and strain, which will lead to increased heart attack and strokes and injuries. Because of this, our society was formed. And I said earlier, we're made up of firefighters, paramedics, first responders. We have over 150 years of experience between us. Our group has been registered as a society since 2019. Our board of directors, there's 6 of us. We made a pledge or donation request to New Glasgow Kinsmen, and they give us $22,000 to start us off in our journey here. With that, our group purchased a transport trailer, medical equipment, specialized cooling fans, DEQ, NFPA approved hot and warming tent so that we can medically moderate, hydrate, provide shelter, cooling, warming for firefighters, monitor their signs, hold them, or return them to operations or have them transported to the hospital. We have a tough book that was donated to us, and we're going to put software in it that we can actually monitor via the laptop and have a report punched out at the end of it. Maritime Boat Supply donated an 8,000-watt hybrid generator to us so we can run our operations. McGregor's Industrial donated outdoor construction lights to help light up our scenes. When we're deployed, as we were the other night in the fire in downtown New Glasgow, we will work with the fire chiefs, deputy chiefs, safety officers. We're not there to run the show or tell them how to do things. We are there as field support for all personnel on scene. The other night we did, when we showed up, Mike and I were the first two on scene. We had 3 firefighters down. They're overexerted. Their heart rates were in the 190s. We had to pull them, and then we set up our deployment tent and took care of it after that. So as we see, we're having, it's everybody else. We're having aging fire departments, aging population. So we need to fill this gap. There's no gap for this right now. There's a setup in North Sydney. There's one in Hantsport, Halifax, and we'll be the 4th one in the province. So what our needs are, we need to be recognized by a municipality so that we can be able to access some grants and such. Storage for our trailer, 24/7 access. And most importantly is dispatch servicing so that our group can be dispatched through iMessage. And I know the town of Stellarton handles the majority of dispatching for the county here. So we also have our own insurance, medical malpractice. We also have a complete application package for members coming on, which will include a criminal investigation, vulnerable sector check, and yearly declaration of good conduct that they have to sign so that there's no gaps in between. My role with the with the group will be training risk management. My 43 years with paramedicine has given me this opportunity, and now as I'm moving into the winter of my career, this will be a new mission for me. So that's why we're here tonight, to give you a little update. We also have our trailer here. I'm not sure if you've seen our trailer. We have some pictures up here on our phones. You can't miss it. It has our NEARS logo, fire rehab on the side. We had the trailer parked up back here this summer for, we had a hot day here in Stellarton, and we set it up, and we had the cooling misting machines in there. And we were showing the difference of ambient air temperature outside and inside. There was 12 degrees difference. As soon as you come in, you got that cooling effect. I believe the CAO even took part of that when she was there. So it's a needed service and entity. And I reached out to the mayor, Danny McGilvery, because I am a Stellarton boy. And I wanted to let the town of Stellarton have an opportunity to hopefully be part of our group and be our sponsor. Any questions?
Thank you for the information. Excuse me. Is there questions for Mr. Mira?
Yeah, so in the recent fire in New Glasgow, which was a big one, how many members were you able to rehabilitate?
We have 20 members now on our group.
Now, how many did you rehabilitate?
That night, 8.
Oh, wow.
We seen,
We got 8 of everybody we touched, anywhere between 30 and 40.
oh yeah,
Oh, wow.
yeah. Oh yeah, because when I came around the corner, there was 3 of them right down against the building. And it was a mild night, it was kind of a humid night, plus the heat from the restaurant with the hood kept the fire in, and heat couldn't get out. And guys overexert themselves. They're trying to do their job, but once we got there, we set our tent up, we got them fed. McGilvery Law Office pulled up with a truckload of water and food for them. And we all worked together and we rehabbed everybody and we were shut down within 3 hours.
Wow.
And nobody was sent to hospital. They could have been, but we rehabbed them right there and they went home safe.
One more question. You said that you're looking for us, or you're looking to be recognized by Star. What does that mean exactly? I don't understand.
So in order to qualify for the Emergency Service Providers Fund, which our department takes advantage of every 3 years, they need to be sponsored by a municipality. So that's their request, is that we would act as their sponsor. It wouldn't affect the Stellarton Fire Department in any way.
Just also to add on that, we want to keep our independence, right? We want to be able to work with everybody, but we need a sponsor. And with that, what we would do, we would certainly respond to calls that Sutter can go to and just be there for Mike, and I'm not sure who the safety officer is now, and just make sure everybody is safe. We're also offering baseline vitals to the firemen. So some night we'll go over, take our gear, set it up, the firemen come in, we take a baseline of their vitals, blood pressure, saturation, respiratory rate, stuff like this, check the lung sounds. And then we'll keep up a record of this, so if we do arrive on scene, we put our sat monitors on, and if you're ticking along with 190 heartbeat, no. So we'll have a baseline and we can add to it and we can monitor that way and then have a report punched out after the scene.
Your
Your
Worship,
worship, being a past fireman, I would suggest that we sponsor this group. I think it would be an asset to the town.
Your Worship, I don't think there's any question that it's a necessity. I think it's something that we should have. And if our dispatch can help out, I don't have an issue with that. As far as sponsoring, I'd be 100% behind them and sponsoring the group. I was a member at Michelin, and I know putting the gear on and going into smokehouses and training. I know what's involved. It's hard. It's no place for an older man. I wouldn't want to do it now, but I mean, a younger person would even be struggling. So I think I can support it.
Are you going to make that a motion, Councillor Knight?
Yeah, I'm making.
I
I'm
just have
making a
one
motion.
question. Is this strictly volunteer, Bill?
100%.
I'm making a motion that we sponsor them,
I'll second
and
that.
also that we can use our dispatch with them.
Sponsor
And
and dispatch, just to,
Yeah, I mean, they need, if they to cut their costs down, we can let them go through our dispatch.
okay?
What about the storage for the trailer? That's the third request that they have asked.
One sec. So we're moved by Councillor Knight, seconded by Councillor Pence. Okay.
On the question, what about the storage for the trailer that they asked for?
We don't have.
We don't have that capability.
Okay. So,
We can look at other options, but certainly like Stellarton would be, if a call comes in, be myself or Mike or somebody will show up in a scene and do what we got to do.
okay. Thank you.
What about the community college? I wonder if they might have space in their parking lot or something. Just on the question, I want to mention, it sounded like a great idea when I first heard about it. I think the fire in Glasgow proved it is a good idea, so. All those in favor, by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded, most carried unanimously. Thank you. Thank you both for your work.
Thank you, you work very much, and we'll be in contact with Susan and yourselves to share our documentation
Excellent.
and whatever information we need and get things running.
Sounds good.
Thank you very much, really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you for your service. Appreciate it.
I know it's been asked, we try to split the group from east to west, so we don't take away from, like Jennifer Crossman is on with us, but she's on Southern, so if Southern got a structure fire, we wouldn't take her, we drew from the west, come this way, so we're not taking
Great
away
idea.
from, even your mutual aid departments, I'm on Westville, so I would count, so I would try, but if not, then we've got a we've got our own structure. We've got a chief, deputy chief, and then we're looking at, with 20 members now, we're looking at our lieutenants and our captains and lieutenants.
Excellent.
Yeah, yeah. So Brian Cameron is actually the chief, and I'm actually the deputy chief, along with Brett Carey. I'm deputy chief of operations, and he's deputy chief of the latter, logistics and all that stuff. So,
Sounds like you guys are well organized.
yeah, very much so.
We're happy to partner up with you, so thank you.
Thank you very much.
Move on to item 5, it's a proclamation, the right to know. The Stellarton Town Council, since a number of years now, has always made this a priority, open and transparency, so we're happy to proclaim this is Right to Know Week. September 27th to October 3rd, 2021. Whereas the Town of Stellarton has adopted the principles of openness, transparency, and accountability, and whereas Part 20 of the Municipal Government Act gives citizens a right to access information in the custody or under the control of the Town of Stellarton, and whereas access to information ensures citizens of Nova Scotia the opportunity for meaningful participation in the democratic process, and whereas the celebration of the right of citizens to access information will facilitate informed public participation in policy formulation, ensure fairness in government decision-making, and permit the airing and reconciliation of divergent views. And whereas the Town of Stellarton joins all other Canadian jurisdictions and democracies worldwide in acknowledging the Right to Know Week, therefore be it resolved that I, Mayor Daniel McGillivray, and Stellarton Town Council, do hereby proclaim September 22nd to October 3rd, 2021 to be Right to Know Week in the Town of Stellarton. Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second that.
Moved by Councillor Penn, seconded by Councillor Campbell. All those in favor, by saying aye. Contrary minded, motion carried unanimously. Thank you. Move on to reports from staff. 5A is Chief Mark Hoback, Stellarton Police Service. We had a police commission meeting last week and went through this in detail. Is there any questions or comments in the report?
I'd just like to commend the Stellarton Police Force and the great job they're doing, taking down the dope houses here in Stellarton. That's what, number 4 or 5?
5, I think.
5, number 5. And, doing a great job. Seeing that we're short-staffed, but just want to commend them on the job. Sorry I missed the police commission meeting, but I was tied up.
I was happy to chair it, and we are seeing results. And I think the citizens recognize that, so it's a good thing.
And just note that including, monthly reports now, we'll have the Safe Communities Initiative monthly reports.
So that's a street crime unit?
Yes.
And they were quite active on that last week.
Yes, there were a few of them, I think.
They should be complimented too.
Good point.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, I think the general public doesn't realize that a lot of this work is being done undercover. We have Safe Communities that comes in from Halifax, and the ground unit, and of course the other plus too, I must say, was as our chief has a lot of background. That's very helpful, and he has initiated bringing in the Safe Communities.
Yep. Okay, so we need a motion to accept that, please.
I so move.
I'll second it.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Lawan, seconded by Councillor Knight. All those in favor, by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded, motion carried unanimously. 5B is Fire Chief Michael Sullivan. The reports included.
I would pass the report as written, Your Worship.
Second that. Moving, I should say.
Moved by Councillor Pence, seconded by Councillor Knight. All those in favor, by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried unanimously. Thank you. Just highlight from the report that there was 10 calls in July and 9 calls in August for mutual aid, alarm calls, medical calls, things like that. We'll move on to 6C, Paige Clark, Marketing Communications Report.
So since the Town of Stellarton has moved to a Chief Administrative Officer system, the staff will not particularly attend council meetings, only at the request of council, or if there's something regarding a project or that sort of thing that they need to inform council. So I will just highlight a few of the items in the senior staff's reports. So I did want to make note that the Miners Monument Service, the 100th anniversary service, will be taking place this Friday at 2 o'clock at the Miners Monument on Ford Street. This has been postponed a couple of times due to weather, but that's taking place at 2 o'clock on Friday, and all are welcome. Paige has been very busy with the Heritage Committee. We are also looking for a historian laureate, and that application is due September 30th. And we will be putting that back out on social media just to refresh people's memories. The app is going along well. We're getting some positive feedback on that. And she is looking at updating the athlete interpretive panels that are at the Allen Park. And also the volunteer reception, which was also postponed due to COVID. We are going to be doing similar to what we did last year, we're going to be doing a viewing with members of council on Monday at lunchtime. The province is doing it virtually, and they're going to have we will be putting it on the screen so her and her family can come here and celebrate with council.
That was well received last year. It was live streamed there, and the family really appreciated it.
Yeah, it really was.
I just want to mention a couple of things. I think we received the grant now from ACOA, did we, for the?
Not officially.
Oh, that's right. So, it's good that the land. Good that the land use bylaw on the website.
Yes.
And people have access, so that's good. The new entrance signs for town have arrived, be installed soon.
Yes.
We're looking forward to seeing the blue and yellow signs up. I think there was good use of the alerts in the app this summer.
We are really getting a lot of positive feedback from that, and people are, putting notices in, like if there's issues that they see, they are putting them in the app. So it's
Excellent.
being done for what it's used for, yeah.
And did you guys want some direction on where to put the athletic panels?
Paige is speaking with Judith Hoig from the Heritage Committee, so they're kind of just working together to kind of clean up the language and that sort of thing, and she will be bringing that forward to council.
So where to put them?
Where to put them and
the language and stuff.
And the language,
Okay.
exactly.
Excellent. I've had some citizens ask us, that's good to hear. Anything else? Questions?
Your Worship, I just want to, I will not be able to make in the miners' service on Friday. I have a conflict with another meeting. I apologize for that.
Thank you.
I so move for
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Can I have a seconder?
I'll second that.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Lawan, seconded by Councillor Campbell. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Contrary minded, most carried unanimously. We're on to 6D, Blaine Murray, Town Engineers Report.
This is a more technical report, so if there are any questions that you would have, you can certainly present them to me, and I'll make sure that they get answered.
Not a question, but just a compliment, I suppose. It's a great job they did on Call Avenue.
Yes.
They did a wonderful job cleaning it up and resolving that water issue down there where people won't be getting flooded out. And the other one was the sidewalk they did at the park. Great job there as usual. It looks really nice. Now, people with accessibility issues would be able to access that a lot easier. The other thing too is I spoke to Blaine here a while ago. There was an issue on Maple Avenue where one gentleman is driving his little machine and he couldn't get up on the sidewalk and he had to drive up the street. I spoke to Blaine and he right away he handled that and they put some pavement in there so he can get up on the machine. It was dangerous for the individual and he couldn't get around there. So just I just want to point that out and thank them for taking care of that issue. Second that motion.
I do have a question.
Moved by Councillor Penn, seconded by Councillor Knight on the question.
In the report on the geosmint slash MIB, so we've been doing some composite sampling since last year. At the end of his report, he said the data would be used to determine treatment options.
Correct.
And do we know a timeline on these treatment options?
He is going to have a report to council within this fall, and then council can determine where they want to go with the budget, on what options they would like to see.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you.
And the problem wasn't as bad this year to the higher water levels.
Correct. We had a lot of rain this year.
No, there wasn't.
No.
I just wanted to reinforce what Councillor Knight said as well. The project on Call Avenue, that Poplar Street Storm project, it worked. I went up there after the big rain the other night, or a couple days ago, and they worked fine. I talked to people who lived there. The sod looks really good. We replaced it with sod instead of seed, and they can't even tell it was ever ripped up. It looks really good. And nice job by Public Works to keep it on their budget to reduce our costs, so thank you for that. I do have a question with the parking plan, when that might be painted in.
The parking plan wasn't put in place only because of shortage of paint. There was a shortage of white paint this year from, it's got the resin in it, so that's the only reason it wasn't done this year.
Okay, the new crosswalk, can we paint some yellow lines around that? There's people parking right up on top of it right now. There's no yellow lines indicating you can't park near it.
Okay.
I'm gonna park on it anyway.
Probably, yeah. And I'm just wondering if the sidewalks, all three of them, will that be done this year? We've
The
done
capital
one.
ones?
Yeah.
He is behind, but that's the plan, to get them done, yeah.
Okay. So I think we have the motion stuff. All those in favor?
All right.
Contrary minded, motion carried. Thank you. 6E, Noah Delory, Active Community Living Coordinator's Report.
Noah's been very, very busy. Summer day camp was a huge success. We actually even went a week longer than the other summer camps in the county. They were at capacity, and we had a great staff. It went really, really well. He's been really working well with the users of our recreation fields. He's good to fulfill their needs, and he's really fitting in well.
I think that a new system we're going to use is going to work well. Taking the stakeholders, getting them involved in the projects, then instead of chasing the ball after, we'll be dealing with it before the field's open
Proactive.
with positive feedback from the
Your
stakeholders.
worship, I was wondering, where are we at with that Pleasant Street playground? Aren't we supposed to have that grassed, seeded?
Thank you, Councillor Pence.
Yeah.
Which part of it?
So the Pleasant Street was a project that last year we put in a resolution that there will be no more dumping, and then that will be seeded and making presentable. And
Has it been done?
exactly.
There's people that pull down there and park there too.
Yeah.
So you can't see that area obviously, but there's areas around there.
Yeah, we've been talking about this specific park for a long time, and it's
I would say 4 or 5 years now. This is the 5th year.
yeah. So we just want to make sure that it is on the priority list, please. There's a resolution about it.
We did get the hill seated.
Yeah, and that was a huge thing, huge.
And I just might add that I drive by there and there's a lot more people using that
You're
area.
absolutely right.
That is a busy spot.
It is so,
absolutely
yeah,
right.
it is, yeah.
Good.
I'd say it's one of the busiest parks we have in town.
Susan Campbell, now what we have to do, you and I, we have to try to get a piece of land in Lords.
Yes.
We have to do that.
I'm with you there.
All right.
Good luck in that one.
Mike.
Thank you. In the report, there's something about the water fountain. I don't recall anything about the water fountain. What is that about?
Water fountain.
That's the one in Allen Park.
Is it?
Yeah. Now, I was talking to Denise Taylor on that, and Denise told me she was going to get me the information. Supposedly, she has a bunch of the information on, to see if it's feasible enough for us to repair it or not.
Is that what it
Yes,
is?
that's what it
Yeah.
is.
And that's where we stood with it, I think, Danny, at the time we discussed it here, was the fact that we didn't know what the expenses were to bring it up. So we'll have the winter to figure it out. Yeah.
Thank you.
Summer day camp. It looks like it was a success. That's
Yes.
great. In one of the activities that was done, there was a mention of children swimming at Melmurray Beach. Do we know if any of our councillors have a lifeguard certificate, or if there's lifeguards on the beach?
The MERB has lifeguards on
lifeguards.
duty.
They do?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, thank you. There was also mention about the Albion baseball field, the light that were changed, 13 out of 30, so we're still missing some.
Yeah, so Noah is going to come to council for next budget to look at LED versus new ballasts for those
So we're going to
lights.
wait until budget to talk
Yeah.
about this, okay? There was a PC Invasion volleyball, and I'm just wondering what were some of the attendance number, if he can provide that to us in the future. The Northern Grid Fitness, partnering with us on a fitness event. I would suggest maybe if we can take a look at some fitness equipment for outdoor to be discussed at the budget time. I believe New Glasgow has something beside the Rotary Park. I think it's like a bicycle maybe or something, I don't know. But there are some. And maybe we can partner with the Northern Grid on that as well. And the active transportation plan, Blue Route Hubs project. It was mentioned in the report that he's working with the Blue Route Hubs project. I don't know who they are, but I fully support it. But he said that he's going to bring it to us on our COW meeting.
Correct.
If we can receive that information a little bit earlier than that, so to review before the meeting so that we are prepared to discuss it in the meeting, that would be great. Sometimes when you get in the same meeting, we'll get caught off guard a little bit.
Okay, no problem.
But overall, he's doing a lot of things, so thank you very much if you can let him know. Thank you.
Do we need a motion on that?
One of the things I want, before you make that motion, is I just want to point out too, with the Sobey Sports Complex, they didn't charge us for that. They allowed us to use that
For day camp.
Yeah.
for the day camp,
I
yeah.
think, that should be mentioned, Brian. That
Maybe
was
a letter sent to them, thanking them or something.
The soccer complex, Brian, was it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, they didn't charge us on
Yeah.
that for the,
I make a motion that we accept Noah's report as written.
I'll second that motion.
Moved by Councilor Pence, second by Councilor Knight. On the question, I just wanted to thank Noah for the summer camp success, as well as Jenna Rorson, Madison Sample, Nick McGinnis, Krista Cameron, and Lacey Sutherland, the ones who actually did the work, so we thank them for that. To echo Councilor Knight's comments, I think it's a great idea, the Active Living Committee having stakeholders as part of the group, so we'll have representatives from basically all the recreation areas in town, or facilities, or programs, so that should really help put us ahead of the game instead of behind the ball. And just for the Active Living Coordinator, overall, excellent work, a busy, productive, and fun summer. Thank you, Noah, for the initiative you showed, and I'm quite pleased with his work.
So am I.
Great, thank you for
So
that
am I.
feedback.
Yeah.
Doing a great job.
I think the key word here, Dan, is productive.
Yeah, an initiative. All those in favor, by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried. Thank you. Move on to item 7 for correspondence. 7A, Pittsburgh County 4-H.
This is just a thank you to council for the donation that you have given them for their awards.
It's a great program. We're happy to do it. 7B is Aberdeen Palliative Care Society.
Again, thanking council for their recent donation to the Palliative Care Society.
And again, they do a great work, and we're happy to support the work they do in our community. 6C, NSCC Foundation.
They submitted their annual report on giving, and just to note that this past year was wrought with challenges, but it also highlighted just how incredibly hardworking and dedicated NSCC students are. In this report, you will find stories that demonstrate the impact of your support, including student success stories, financial highlights, and exciting new initiatives. And that report is available in the admin office.
What is the grants that we do, scholarships?
We had done a scholarship previous in Mr. Sobey's name once he retired.
yes.
But we don't do that annually, but we do support in other ways with the annual welcome barbecue and that
Right,
sort of thing.
right. Okay, great, thank you.
I just have a question. It says your generosity provided over $3 million in funding, is it?
So it's a form letter, but they're talking about the grant that the town did in Mr. Sobey's name.
So that's part of everything else.
Yeah, oh yes, we did not do 3 million.
When I looked at it, it was like, yo.
Good question, thank you.
And we're happy and proud that the NSCC is part of our community. It's a big part of our community, and the better we connect with them, I think it's better for the town and for them. 7D, Pictou Regional Library Board.
Again, they're just presenting their annual financial statements, their audited annual financial statements, which are also located in the admin office for anyone that wishes to see them.
Thank you. And 7E, Pictou County Firefighter Association.
We received this letter. All municipalities in the county received this. It says, "Dear CAOs, as Secretary of the PCFFA, I have been asked to write you in regards to the upgrade replacement of the SCBA air cascade system that is housed within the New Glasgow Fire Department. The original system was installed in the New Glasgow Fire Department station over 40 years ago, with upgrades undertaken 28 years ago. The cascade system is maintained by the Pictou County Firefighters Association and is rated to filled firefighters' air cylinders to 2,600 psi, which give firefighters approximately 15 to 20 minutes of air to be in a toxic environment. Currently, many departments are upgrading their SCBA to handle 4,500 psi, giving the firefighter approximately 30 to 40 minutes of air. We had hoped to be able to tap into the Office of the Fire Marshal Emergency Service Providers Grant in order to start the process of upgrading. We were turned down. The project to upgrade and replace can be done in stages with a total cost in the area of $80,000. Until recent years, the cascade situated in Glasgow was the only one in the area, but some departments have purchased their own to fill the 2,600 psi bottle. Many departments still rely on the unit in New Glasgow to fill their bottles due to it being manned 24 hours per day. But more departments are moving toward the 4,500 psi versions. We would request that your municipal unit work with the PCFFA to see what can be undertaken over the next few years to get the unit upgraded to meet the current and future demands. And just to inform council that the CAOs in the county have a meeting on September 23rd, and that letter is on the agenda.
So we'll wait to see what comes of that, I guess, before we...
Yeah, I would.
In speaking with our fire chief, our department does have our own cascade system, and they do not use the unit in New Glasgow, just for your information.
It's good to know. Thank you.
Susan, I just have a question that you could ask. Does our cascade system do the 4,500 PS?
Okay.
Or will we have to upgrade to that?
I will ask that.
Okay, I'd like to know that.
Can you ask as well if any other units use our cascade system from time to time? And if that's the case, should we have some compensation for that?
So there's no motion required for the
No,
correspondence?
just for information.
Committee of the Whole report.
The following recommendation is for council's consideration from the Committee of the Whole meeting held on July 26, 2021. On recommendation of Committee of the Whole, council approved the quote from Webster's Brothers Painting and Concrete in the amount of $24,750 plus HST, as it is the lowest quote for the paving of a portion of Old Foxbrook Road. And the following recommendation is for council's consideration from an email dated August 23, 2021. On recommendation of Committee of the Whole, council approved the donation of $500 to the NSCC Student Association Pictou Campus for their Welcome to NSCC barbecue for new and returning students.
I make a motion that we follow those recommendations made at Committee of the Whole. Thank you.
I second that motion.
Moved by Councillor Pence, seconded by Councillor Knight. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded. Most carried, Nancy. Thank you. This is a new part of our agenda, which I think is valuable for council. Reports from regional organizations and committees. So this month is Wellness Center and the Shared Service Authority. The COO reports included in the package from the Wellness Center. We have a new COO who's, as far as I can tell to this point, doing a real bang-up job of maximizing the efficiencies of that building. And we also have, I think, the financial statements for Shared Service Authority attached.
Yep.
So those for council consideration. Any questions on those two reports? Okay, you don't need a motion for that either.
No, just for information.
Your Worship, since we are adding this in the agenda, I have been to the REN AGM recently, and I have brought back with me 4 or 5 dossier, I guess, that would be shared with the council.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Item number 10 is the Mental Health Ad Hoc Committee. Councillor Knight want to speak on?
Thank you, Your Worship. I just wanted to update the council on the ad hoc committee. The committee was formed, of course, off the mayors and the warden. It's an ad hoc committee to deal with the mental health crisis here in Pictou County. For the interim, the Mayor Dix, County Warden Parker, we're leading the charge I'm sorry, and Mayor, I'm trying to think what the other one was, Jim Ryan. We're leading the charge and they have been working over the last while to try to resolve the problems here or see what they could do to help the mental health crisis we have here in Pictou County. Everybody knows we have a serious mental health crisis here. We just don't have the units. We don't have the psychiatrists there. There's a northern division that looks after a big area, and it's scary, to say the least. We see our young people every day. We're losing young people every day through a mental health crisis. So they wanted to expand the committee, and they asked representatives from each town. I had spoken at a Zoom meeting, and Robert Parker asked me if I would get involved in the committee, and I said I would. So we had a couple of meetings. We had one meeting to discuss what we wanted to do, where we wanted to go with it. And we had decided that we would like to have a standalone or a standalone, if not a standalone, one in the hospital unit with psychiatrists, psychiatric nurses and so forth and so on that would help with the mental health crisis here in Pictou County. During the election, we held back because we wanted to see which government was going to get in, and with the new government, they have one of the MLAs is designated as the minister to take care of mental health here in Nova Scotia. So at our last meeting, we've put an application. We sent an email to the Comer's his name, Minister Comer, and to the three local MLAs here in Pictou County. We want to sit down and have a meeting. We're going to address it and push to have a unit put here. Some of the concerns is when people go into the emergency in the Aberdeen, it's a fact they're in with the general population, and somebody that's having issues, mental health issues, is not a good place for them, both for the people that are there and especially if they're going to be sitting there for 12 hours or what have you. So right now we're waiting for word back, and of course the government has just started up. They're just getting off the ground, I guess. So we're waiting for confirmation back from the minister, and we're going to approach him to see if we can get a mental health unit here in Pictou County. So I just wanted to bring everybody up to speed on what's happening. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Is there any questions for Councillor?
Yeah, that's not a question, just a comment. Ryan, thank you very much for taking that on. I support you 1,000,000%. And I'm hoping that the council as well support you. And if you need anything, whether it's a resolution or a letter or anything, I will be more than happy to put in a resolution for that.
Thank you, Councillor Wan. It's a thing, I think everybody in Pictou County has been touched some way with mental health, whether it's issues with their children, whether it's PSTD, ADD, or whatever, whether it's bad nerves, or I can see my neighbors and the different people I talk to, I can see they're all suffering in one way or another, especially with the pressures from COVID. Our police departments are dealing with this. We don't have the resource base right now for our police departments. And the thing that bothers me most is the fact that it's Northern Division and it's run out of Truro. Once again, Pictou County is left behind. If you were to go to the hospital and look for a psychiatrist, you're going to be, if you are lucky enough to get there, you're going to be deferred to either Truro or Antigonish. And you know, I don't want to point out particular instances, but we all know people that have happened in here where we've lost some of our younger citizens, and it just breaks my heart to see this happening. So I was only too quick to jump on board and try to do something. I know I have the support here at the council, but I just want to make sure everybody was aware of what was going on. Thank you.
Thank you. So I think that's it for the agenda. We'll move on to open forum. Does anyone like to speak at the open forum?
Good evening, council. Thank you very much for giving me a few minutes to speak. I'm very proud of the town, as you guys know. The ball field is absolutely beautiful up there. Whoever's cutting the grass is doing a marvelous job. It looks like Oakland Coliseum years ago. They cut it in all their ways. It really does. It's a really beautiful thing. I was up there a few times watching ball games. It brings back a lot of memories, you know. But there was a couple elder ladies sitting up on top of the hill there, and one fell, and we luckily caught her. She was going to go down the bank. Another one, the chair broke, and she went down. But anyway, I was wondering, maybe next year in your budget, you could take a look at putting some nice, not wood, but plastic bleachers down along the side, on the ground level, you know, the rink side, that there, along behind the screen, so people can sit down there properly. Maybe 50 people or 75 people can sit there. It's a lot safer, I think, you know. And anyway, it's just something to think about, and anyway, thanks very much for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Axel. It's something to think about. That's where the bleachers used to be when thousands of people attended those games in the 50s. There's a bullpen there now, but I think there'll still be room for bleachers if we decide to do that. So we'll defer that to maybe a budget discussion.
Budget.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak at the open forum?
Good evening, Your Worship. Town Council. I'm a resident that lives at 103 Park Street. It'd be the Jew building, the old high school. And I moved in there when I was 55. It's 55 and up, kind of like a seniors kind of a home, back in July of 2018. I have two concerns. We just recently got a notice here last week on the 8th that they're going to discontinue the elevator in the building. And we have several people with health and physical disabilities that use it on a daily basis. And I was hoping maybe the town could show some interest in looking into trying to save our elevator. That's one of my main concerns. And the other concern is, I'd like to know if the people who own this establishment, it was purchased, I made a little boo-boo, I think it was December of 2018, by New Dynasty Real Estate. And I just want to know if they're complying to fire regulations, because we had a company there on the 8th, Wilson Securities, and they did an evaluation on the building, and we found out that the main fire control panel as you enter the building was disconnected for 2 years. So I don't know if you can help me with that or not, but that's what I'm basically here for, or requesting.
So we can contact
Well, we can
her.
contact the provincial fire marshal's office.
We can certainly look into the fire issues and the elevator. That's a provincial matter. We can certainly speak with the MLA for the area on that.
Do we want to write letters supporting with the new accessibility laws and stuff that we don't think it's a good idea to take the elevator out of that facility?
I agree.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Everyone okay with that?
What about the building, what about the building inspector? Could the building inspector not enter?
Yeah, she'll
okay.
she'll have her. Yeah, Danny, I'd make that a motion that we as a town council are in favor of the elevator.
And maybe we get some confirmation on who actually owns that property, like name, contact numbers and whatnot.
Just name we can give, isn't it?
We can only give the name.
We just got a name of the company our checks go to, that's pretty well that. And the lady in the building handles communications with them. We're not allowed to contact them. I don't know why.
Strange.
Yeah.
Can we make motions in an open forum? It just gives direction, maybe, to...
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Lange. I want to thank you for this, bringing this to our attention. I think it's
thank you.
important.
Thank
We
you.
want to take care of it
Thank you
before
very
we
much
can.
for your time. Your worship.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think that's it, unless the reporter wants to speak at the open forum.
No, I do have one question though. The mental health emergency unit, that's aiming to be in the Aberdeen Hospital, correct?
The mental health unit, crisis unit, it was originally started off, the mayors and council and warden meet on a regular basis, and this was started an ad hoc committee off of them. And what we discussed at one point was a standalone unit. And then we thought, well, bricks and mortar and cost and that, we might have to downgrade it to as long as there's a place where people, when they go into the hospital, or if it is in the hospital, that if you go up to Truro, they have a separate unit there. It's often by itself. You can go into that unit. But the issue is right here in Pictou County, if you have a mental health crisis and you go to the hospital, a lot of times they're going to give you a pill and send you home because they don't have the facility or the doctors there. You end up, you have to take your chances and go to Truro or Antigonish and hope that you get triage and they let you in. And, you know, that's not acceptable because anybody that's having an issue, anxieties or whatever it is, try to corral them into sitting in a hospital for 12 hours, 4 hours, sometimes for an hour is next to impossible. So we need here in Pictou County, I mean, we've got 42,000 people living here. And we're seeing crises happen all the time. So when a person is under crisis, they need that help immediately. Some kind of help, whether it's a nurse that can attend to them until a psychiatrist come in. But my humble opinion, you can't treat somebody until you know what the issue is. So we need a psychiatrist to look at these people and diagnose them, and then steer them to where they should go, you know.
Yeah,
Does that answer your question?
I wasn't sure if you were looking to have it as its own separate building or just putting a separate unit within the hospital.
We would like to have it in a separate building, a standalone separate building, but, you know, it's like anything, the government only has so much money.
There's the ideal.
Yeah, that's the ideal situation. So anyway, and right now, like I said, we've emailed or emailed the Minister Comer. It's a new ministry, and it's for mental health. It's supposed to be again a standalone unit for mental health. So that in itself would be great. And if it has to be in the hospital, it works in Truro, it works in Antigonish, you know, it would work here. We just don't want to get greedy and get turned away.
Thank you. I think it's a good sign that they made a new department for mental health specifically. That shows a priority on it, so it's hopefully a good first step. Okay, nothing else. I will ask for a motion to adjourn.
So